So today we're going to be diving into the very first portion of actually finding and building a successful online business, which has to do with you. So there are actually two things involved, which has to do with the thing you're selling, which can actually help you make money, and you selling the thing. So there are two things that can actually influence or motivate your success and actually achieving your goals in digital marketing space. The first thing is be what you're selling, because your offer is what people are going to be buying, and if your offer is valuable, people are obviously going to buy it. Then second thing is you, the person selling it. Now, if we were to be a robot and a machine, we could be able to work 24/7 without any limitation or any obstruction. But we are humans, we have feelings, we have thoughts, we have emotion, and this is one of the things that actually brings about one of the biggest limitations to getting and achieving our goals. For a machine, it's simple: do task A, task B, task C, you get task D. But as humans, we complicate things with our emotion, complicate things with our feelings, and this is why mindset is one of the most powerful things that can actually aid your success or your failure in the digital marketing space. And a lot of people actually do not go into this topic because it's complex one. And second, as I said, it's none of their business. This is personal. And this is why you might have heard the saying that to be able to achieve your desired outcome, you have to become the person who is worthy of that outcome and that goals you actually want in your life. And this is when the message become a thing. So today we're going to be talking about how you can be able to reprogram your mind for success as a digital marketer, how you can get rid and overcome your limiting beliefs, how you can get rid of imposter syndromes, and how you can get rid of overthinking and self-sabotaging yourself from the success and desired outcome that you actually want in your life. Welcome back to another life event with your boy TYPRENEUR. And today we're going to be talking about how you can be able to actually get rid of old limiting beliefs and reprogram your mind for success as a digital entrepreneur. And it's going to be presented by your boy TYPRENEUR. And we also have gone through this live yesterday, but due to some external factors, I wasn't able to be around. But today we're going to dive into it, and I want to say thanks for everyone showing up in here and everyone that actually understood. I appreciate the support so far. All right. Okay, so let's dive into it. So today, the table of contents, what we're going to be talking about is the first thing. We're going to dive into the term mindset. I know we've heard about it a lot of times. We've seen it, we've read posts, we've heard be positive, we've heard see the word half cup full, or see the word, the way you see the word, and all of those things. So we're going to first of all define the proper meaning of it and what is it all about. Then we're going to talk about paradigms and conceptions, because these are important things. This is what actually creates your full reality, because the concept of reality is actually personal. This is where your neighbor might be succeeding and striving, where you might be struggling. You are in the same world, but you're creating different reality for yourself. So, and this has to do with the term paradigms and conception. We're going to dive into that. Then the third is how limiting beliefs are created, because you didn't just wake up and start getting this limiting belief. You didn't wake up and want to self-sabotage or do not want to get to your goal. You actually created those goals, or actually say you want to eat this outcome because it's important to you and something you obviously want in your reality. But now there are programs, there are stuff actually obstructing you and stopping you from getting to that point. And sometimes it feels so you feel so powerless that you can't be able to control it. But that's not the truth. And today we're going to talk about what they are so you can get an in-depth understanding of them, because I believe clarity leads to get more understanding about the problem and get you to understand the solution so much faster. So we're also going to dive into how you can be able to identify your old paradigms, your old conception of yourself, the world, and your business, because we're going to be diving into the digital marketing space. And this stuff we're going to be talking to doesn't just apply to the digital marketing space. These are stuff you can also use in even your relationship. You can use in your personal life and other areas of your life, because paradigms are created in different areas of our life. We all have every different frameworks and every different template in which we're using to go through life every single day. Some might be effective, some might not be effective. In this training, we're going to discover those that are not effective so you can replace it and change it to those that are going to be effective and help you to achieve the desired outcome you want out of your business and your personal life. And we're also going to identify how you can be able to replace these old beliefs and these old systems, this old template that have been stopping you from getting to the point you want to be, with new ones that is going to lead you the success you actually want in your business and your personal life. And we're going to talk about action, because we've seen the advice that you need to take massive action, you need to take a lot of action to be able to get the results or the success you want in business. Now, I'm not against action, but the thing I'm against is that when you're taking action with not being clear on what you're doing, or with those programming still in there, you're going to self-sabotage and you're going to quit or do something else because it's not going to be in alignment with what you want. And this is why we have to work inside before we can be able to get the things we want outside of us. And most of the times, because of modern societies and the programs and everything around us, the distraction, that has been able to help us to forget who we truly are as human. And now we seek validation and we seek everything we want from the external world, which is one of the biggest problems of what we have today in modern society. So we're going to dive into all of this stuff and all of this concepts. And finally, we're going to talk about how you can be able to overcome your limiting belief, the imposter syndrome, and stop yourself from self-sabotaging so you can be able to achieve those goals you've set for the year 2024. It's actually the last day of August. So in tomorrow we're going to get into the Ember month, which is going to be like the fourth month to the end of the year. So 2024 is literally almost gone, and now it's like the best time for you to start going back to your goals because you can see achieve a lot of them, or almost planning for the next year so you can do great things for the next year coming up. And if you do not check this limiting belief or work on this mindset and these programmings that have been causing you to self-sabotage, it's going to spill over to the new year and you're going to be in the same situation, in the same place you don't want to be. That's not what we're looking for. That's not what we want. So today we're going to dive into these topics and we're going to try to get you to get more in-depth knowledge about it. Understand it's not your fault and you have nothing to do with it. It's literally not your fault, but you have the ability to be able to change it by making decisions to do that from today. So that's within your control. And that's also something we're going to be talking about, circle of influence and circle of concern, and how we can be able to literally create more of the things we want into our physical reality and achieve our goals. If you are excited for this, be sure to drop an excited. If you're in the live, sure to drop an hashtag live. If you're in the replay, be sure to drop an hashtag replay. And while I'm going through this, if you have any question, please be sure to do that below. All right, let's dive into it. So the first thing, before getting started, the first thing we're going to talk about is what exactly is the term method? What exactly is the term? We've heard about it a lot of time. We've seen it. We've seen quotes and we've even talked about it. But what exactly is it? Is it seeing the world in a way? Is it being positive? What is it? I'm interested in knowing your answer below. Just throw lights. This is an interactive session. I'll be also interested in learning from you guys also, as I am getting to share what I've learned so far with you guys also, if that makes sense. What is method? When you hear the term method, what comes into your mind? I'm interested in knowing. Is it thinking positively? Is it being optimistic? Is it your belief system? Among other things that actually pop into your mind. But working on your mindset is actually a lot broader and much in depth than just thinking positively or seeing the world in a glass half full kind of perspective and all of that. It's part of it anyway, but it isn't all about it because it starts from within you. And the only thing anyone cannot be able to change or alter, and you have complete control over is your mind, nothing else. Everything else is outside you. The only thing you can control is your mind. And saying mindset is just seeing the world one part or half glass full and being positive. It's like saying your mind is programmed for one simple basic task. The mind is so complex that all of modern reality was actually created from the mind. This is to show you just how powerful it is. And as I said earlier, machines do not have limitations, so machines can perform tasks effortlessly. And the reason why humans have limitation and why we are the only creature on earth that doesn't reach half of our true potential is because of our mind and what we choose to let in and how we choose to react with the external world. So the entire modern civilization we live in today with so many amazing technology and innovation is as a result of the power of the mind. Everything was once an idea in someone's mind, then that idea became a reality. So the same thing is currently how you can be able to achieve your current goal because once you can see it, you're already in the process of achieving it. But seeing it isn't just the factor to actually get what you want. There are other things involved with it, and this is what we're going to be peeling deep into in today's session. Now, you're probably wondering, Terry, aren't you a digital marketing coach? Why are you going to mindset and all of this stuff? Isn't this other part? But the thing is, this is actually the most important part of your business because businesses are run by people and people have personal issues. And when you do not resolve your personal problem, it's going to reel into your business, and you're going to get you're not going to get what you want because the personal problem has rolled into your business problem. As I said earlier, if the business was to be run by a machine, everything would be smooth and effortless. But we're humans and we have self-imposed limitation. We do not have limitation, but it was self-imposed on us. And to get what you want, you have to overcome these limitations to become limitless. If that makes sense. Okay, so as everything that exists in the physical reality is as a manifestation of your mind and the thoughts, being it positive or negative. Just as you can't see gravity, but you believe it exists, the same is true for the law of attraction, which, to summarize, the law of attraction is that our thoughts and our feelings create our physical reality. That being said, we attract and create into our reality whatever any dominating thought with feelings we have to attract and create such situation into your reality. Sometimes this might be intentionally, and most times it will act your knowing. And the thing is that just like gravity, you do not have to be aware of its effect for it to actually take effect on you. You being on Earth, you walking from point A to point B is as a result of gravity. So if you believe in it, doesn't mean it doesn't work. The same thing is the law of attraction. Whether you believe it or not, whether you are taking, you being aware or not, it's constantly happening and it's constantly going on, even right now in your life. Because you cannot be able to fight these principles and this law. These are fixed law of nature. We are all under it and we all obey the principle of mother nature. It actually makes sense. So that being said, when it comes to every human being, there are actually two parts and two components that makes up your physical reality and what you have right now. So before diving into that, there's this saying that humans, we are a soul experiencing a human, having a human experience on earth. That being said is that humans are souls, which means we are more powerful than the bond of our physical flesh. But most of us do not get to that level of enlightenment to be able to see the full potential we have. But just to give you an example, if you check and look at every great invention in today's reality, go back 100 years ago, most of them seems impossible. Now, because someone was able to see it, think it, and believe it, we get so many great innovation and so many great changes in the world. And this all has to deal with the power of the mind. And as I was saying earlier, humans, we are so having a human experience. The soul, as stated in physics and even in physics state that the matter cannot be created nor destroyed. It can only be transferred from one form to another, which also means that we as humans, our soul cannot be destroyed nor created, but it can be deemed and limited within the body or within the flesh and the physical reality. But this is just some mumbo jumbles anyway. But I'm going to share more light into all of this stuff so it makes a lot more sense. So let's stick with the script, if that makes sense. If you have any questions so far, be sure to let me know. I know it isn't going directly into think positively and do all of this stuff. I'm trying to first of all create the foundation of it so you can get a proper understanding of how this stuff works and why you might be doing or behaving the way you currently are and why you might not be getting what you want and what to do to change things for the better. So the two part of consciousness, now most modern technology like your smartphone, the PC, and other major components have two main things and two main parts making it to function consistently. Now, for your mobile device, let's say your smartphone, it has two components. It has the software component and it has the hardware component. Am I right or am I right? So these are the two things that it needs to be able to become an active working phone and device you can use to communicate with other people. You can use to do so many great tasks that people 100 years ago can only imagine and even think it's going to be possible, but you're doing it every single day and it's a new normal for you. So these two components is first the software, which is the programming, and the hardware, which is the physical phone or the hardware of the device you currently can hold and can be able to instruct your information into to give you the outcome from the programming. So with the software being in charge of the device programming and instruction on how to function to serve your needs, while the hardware has to do with the output and physical response to the software program deep within the device. Now, example of the hardware would be your screen and the hardware of your device, but without the software programming, the device won't work and it's going to be useless. So, how does this have to do with being a digital marketer or being an entrepreneur? Because we as human, we have two programming also, which is controlling us and getting us to do things the way we are and to react to the world the way we currently do. And just like your hardware, your smartphone has the software programming component to it and the hardware component, which is the one that allows you to be able to operate your phone and see what you're doing. So is every human being on planet Earth, if that makes sense. So, but when it comes to humans, because we have the same two components, but in our case, this is first the subconscious self and your subconscious mind, and two, your conscious self and the part that reacts and make decisions and choices. Now, your subconscious is just like the example of the software programming. It's the deep programming within you that creates certain instructions of how you react with your world to create your unique reality. As I said earlier, everybody is in the same earth. You could be in the same country, but everybody has their own degree at which they are able to see and create different success and achieve their goals on this earth. But we are all humans. We all have the same blood, the same brain, the same thought patterns, and everything the same. But the only thing that is different, that differentiates you from your neighbor, is your mind and what you choose to do with your thoughts and your actions. This is what differentiates A from B, because underneath all of the skin colors and all of the skin, the fat, we are all flesh and blood, and we are the same living organism, the same human. So these are the two components that make up everybody, both the poor, the rich, the successful, or work at you. Now, the subconscious is actually the deep programming within you. Now, for example, you do not know how your heart beats. Am I right? Like you do not know, you do not consciously create the motion that I want my heart to beat right now. So let me think about it, and my heart will start beating. If you do not know how those stuff happens, not do you know how you can be able to breathe in oxygen. You just breathe in oxygen, something you just do. And even walking is not something you think about. Like, how do I take the first step to this point? How do I take the second point to this other point? Because it's something your subconscious mind is working on consistently for you. You don't have to think about it anymore. It's something you just do. So why is it that you can be able to do it without thinking about it? And this is where the mind is very, very important. And this is one thing the social media and the government, politics, and everything is using to be able to either deceive, influence, or persuade the public and the masses into this environment. Just like leveraging social media and the fake lifestyle and all of those things, giving people more anxiety, more panic, and those reactions as an effect of what they decide to allow into their mind, because the mind is a cage. You should protect it at all times, because whatever thing you allow into it can influence and actually control your life and create the reality you do not want into. So we'll talk more about this as we go into the content. So you cannot be able to think about how you make your heart to beat, or how you breathe in air, or how you even heal yourself from sickness. All of this happens on autopilot and you have no idea it happens. It's just happening, and you just know that you were once sick and now you're feeling much better. You can be able to breathe, your heart is working, everything is working on its own. Now, on the conscious self side of things, this has to do with the decision making process and physical output of your subconscious programming deep within you. So what this means is that the decision you make, the choices, because as I said, the only thing you can control, the only thing you have full and 100% control over is your mind and your thought, and what you choose to let in or what you choose not to let in. So you should be the guide. And the way to be able to let things in is through the conscious self, because this is the stuff that take action. This is the self that make decision. This is the self that actually interacts with the physical world, if that makes sense. So here is the ratio of control with each component that makes you up. So your subconscious mind actually make up 90% of who you are, while your conscious mind make up just 10% of your physical reality, which is the choices. Because every step and every decision we make lead to more things being created into our physical reality. No action is left alone, no action is standalone, everything is intertwined with each other. And this is where things might be the way you want it to be, or things might not be the way you want it to be because of the choices and the action you decided to take out of the 10% of your conscious mind. Now, just like an iceberg, we can see this is the surface which everybody gets to see and interact with, but that isn't the whole piece of the puzzle. We can see underneath the iceberg, there are a ton and in-depth depth of more substance within that actually will lead to the creation of this surface, which you can be able to see. And the same thing is how our subconscious programming, our subconscious mind take effect and shape the way our physical self and our conscious mind react to the world, make decisions, and even go and achieve your goals and desire in your business or your personal life or work activity, if that makes sense. So this is the ratio which the subconscious mind takes within you, and this is the ratio which the conscious mind takes within you. And this is why it's very, very funny that most programs ignore teaching and talking about this side of you, because if you do not fix this side, you will always keep on struggling to change things with the 10% and using 10% to fight against 90% of your programming, which is like a losing battle. And this is why a lot of people start creating limiting belief, and this is the start point of limiting belief, and this is also the start point of self-sabotage, imposter syndrome, and not feeling as if you can be able to achieve what you want. And what this actually does, it creeps into your productivity, it creeps into the action you take, and it limits you from actually getting the result or the goals you actually want in your business or personal life. And this is why to change things, you have to first of all go in depth into that, because you cannot be able to change what's inside from external and outside substance and outside materials. You can be able to change your external environment by first of all changing your internal environment, because 90% controls 10% of your action and your decision making process. So to be able to get more, you have to go deep into that 90% and reprogram it so it's in alignment with the 10% of what you want, so you can effortlessly attract and manifest your dreams, your goals into your physical reality, being it making 10K per month, being it building a successful online business, being it working in a relationship, or being it being a good parent to your kids. These are some of the things you literally need to go into. And in a couple of minutes, we're going to dive into this stuff and talk about how you can be able to work and go deep into those 90% and start fixing it on the step-by-step so it can be in alignment with your desired outcome and the goals you actually want in your physical reality. If you're excited for this, be sure to let me know in the comments. If any of this is making sense, be sure to drop a make sense. If it's not, also let me know in the comments. I'll be open to seeing that. All right. So now you want to imagine the control the subconscious have within you. And this is something they do not teach in college or school or even environment, because if you know it, you're going to be free. And if you're free, you're not going to be within the system. You cannot be easily manipulated, and you can think for yourself, which is a bad market for the society and the community, if that makes sense. All right. So this is how the 90 and the 10% work. Now, for example, your smartphone is able to carry out so many tasks because of the software programming. The same way is how you create a physical reality and react to the world in alignment to the programs running deep within your subconscious mind, which gets us to the next question. How do you program your subconscious mind for success, as it's something you cannot see? Now, the thing is, a lot of people are in constant reaction mode, not to respond. We react to circumstances as they come into our physical reality. So in order to be able to change things, you have to first of all pause, stop reacting, and start seeing the cause of these things and why you react to those things. And this is where I use the term reprogram, because being it, whether you like it or not, we have all been programmed with different scripts and different frameworks in life. This is what makes you to be who you are currently. And this is what I've created all the ideas, your beliefs, your views of the world, and everything around you. So to be able to change it, you first of all have to notice it, then take a quick dive into what caused it before you can even start replacing and changing it to the one you want. Because if it's not favoring you, you're not where you want to be, you're not getting what you want, chances are you need to reprogram it, you need to change it so you can be in alignment to the result and the success you want. And speaking of how do you program subconscious mind for success, we'll go into the term tabula rasa. So this is a Greek word, tabula rasa, which states that man is a netting template at birth, meaning when you were giving birth to this word, you have no information, you have nothing, you didn't know anything, you were just empty, you a newborn baby, the only thing you know how to do was cry, and you were learning every single day from the people around you, your parents, your environment, your community, and what got you. Now, another example of this is just like buying a new flash drive in the aim to store information and store content for future purposes. At first, the flash drive is going to be empty. There's going to be nothing in that flash drive because it's completely new. The moment you start putting information, putting content to that flash drive, the minute it starts becoming filled up. Now, the flash drive can now be identified into its own label, depending on the type of content or information you put into it. If you put in movies and entertaining content, that flash drive can see its own overall view and own objective to be for entertainment and for fun. Now, if you filling that same file drive with, like, let's say business stuff, your business contracts, your deals, your information, your CV, this flash drive can be considered in its own as a business flash drive, and it has important information that has to deal with business. But before inserting those stuff, it was just an empty flash drive. So the same thing is how we get to see things as human. When we were born into this world, we didn't have any belief system. We were not Christian. We were not Muslim. We didn't have anything. We didn't believe that we were poor. We didn't know anything. But the minute we start growing up, you start paying attention to everything because this is information, and you start uploading into your conscious, your subconscious mind, new belief, new system, new blueprint, a new template in which you can be able to scale through life. And this is where the people around you is very, very important. The people you surround yourself with is very, very important to you being where you want to be or the person you currently are right now. Now, as you start growing up as a kid, you start absorbing information and knowledge from your parents, from the environment, from school, from friends and religions, and that creates a new programming in which you now get to see and interact with the world. For example, if you grew up in a Christian environment, the only thing you know about is Christianity. You know that there is devil out there. You know that there is Jesus Christ. You know that you have to obey the 10 Commandments. You know this belief because it was passed on to you, and you get to see it from the people around you, from the religion, from your community, from your parents. You get to have an idea of what is right or what is wrong due to the information you get and the way you were being educated from the people around you. And what this actually does is create a new program and a new concept of yourself. You identify as a Christian because that is what you are, and this is how you grew up to be. You identify as a parent because you are a parent, if that makes sense. But the more you start having this information, the more you start having an idea of who you think you are. For example, you be like, you can identify that, okay, we are successful in our family, we're rich, or we are obese, or I am an introvert, I do not like to talk, I'm an extrovert, or these are what I like, these are what I hate, this is what I believe in, and this is what I do not believe in, because of the information that was being fed to you from external environment and external sources like your parents, the environment, the community. Now, sometimes this belief might be good, other times it might be negative. Now, depending on the information you actually absorbed and the way the people you surround yourself with. Because, and the crazy thing is that when it comes to right and wrong, on the energy feed and in the manifestation feed, there is nothing like right, there's nothing like wrong, because everything has to deal with the programming of yourself. Just like working with the software and technology part of things, when you're programming, when you're creating a software program, that program can be used for good, it can also be used for evil. They cannot be able to say that this program is bad or this program is evil, depending on the outcome it actually created. We as humans are the ones that created the concept of good or bad or evil. But on the energy feed, everything is just the same, depending on how you interact with the desires and the dominating thoughts in your mind actually create the outputs you get. So just like the program is again, the programs work with one another, they interact, they follow the same principle, the same blueprint to be able to give you that specific outcome. The same thing is the subconscious mind, the 90% running the show for the 10%. So those information, those thought process, those things you've been able to allow into your mind to influence you start creating their own program, their own blueprint, and their own concept in which you're going to get to see the world and get to interact with everything within the world. So we are humans are the one that create labels on bad and evil. And this is why you want to re-examine the program currently running on. If it's in alignment with what you want, then it might be good. If it's not getting you to where you want to be, then you might think about maybe thinking about where might be this problem coming from, and how can I be able to reconfigure it so I can be able to feel much better, that I can be able to get what I want from my external environment and my reality. Because you cannot be able to create a change from within, from external. Any change you're creating from external to try to fill up the stuff within you is going to be temporary. This is why they say happiness comes from inside, because it actually does, if that makes sense. So this is why you might be living in a reality you don't want and still continue with it, because it's the information your subconscious mind have been consistently filled with, and it's all it knows. And as I said, there's nothing like good or bad, evil in the negative, in the energy feed. Everything is matter, everything is energy, and energy cannot be destroyed, energy cannot be created, cannot be transferred from one form to the other. Your thoughts has an energy to it. This is why we can be able to create everything to our physical reality. And in a second, we're going to talk about how we can do that more effortlessly. So when you put those energy into those aspects, if it's negative, the energy is being filled on consistently, negative thing is going to follow up. If it's positive, positive things is going to follow up, if that makes sense. These are all programmings and templates and set of codes which we as humans obey depending on our various situations, our environment, and the way we were brought up, and information we've been able to accept as true. Now, before we can change this programming, let us first talk about the paradigms and conceptions. So, what exactly are paradigms and what are conceptions? So, what are paradigms and conceptions? Paradigms and conceptions are the lens in which you view the world, and they are created from the information you've received consistently from your parents, environment, school, friends, religions, maybe even movies, the influencers you follow, because modern technology brings about modern problems, if that makes sense. And these paradigms appeal in different areas of your life, in your business, in your relationship, in your career, in your health. What got you? Now, they are the blueprints in which you see various areas of your life to determine what is possible or not for you. Now, for someone, if you come from a broke family that struggles with money, you might adopt the paradigm of being in constant survival mode and believing that there is a limit to how much you can earn, or there is a description, a separate distinction between the rich and the poor, and you believe that the rich have something you do not have, or do not possess the gene to be successful. This might be the paradigms in which you see the world. And once you have this type of paradigm about the world, you start to not see opportunities because you've restricted and limited yourself to that view, which is the conception of paradigm of the world. And this affects every other thing you do because the 90% controls the 10% of your physical conscious mind, if that makes sense. Now, another example might be if you grew up in a family where everybody's obese and have weight loss problem, you might grow up thinking that you have nothing to do about it, that it's out of your control, you cannot be able to control your weight, it's just something that is normal in your family, and this creates a paradigm that keeps you in your own prison, in the prison of your own making. And the worst prison to be in is a prison in your mind. It's better to be in a prison, in a physical prison, say, than to be in a prison in your own mind. Because that is something you might not be able to change, because a lot of people go through this life and they just live through life, never understanding where the what's going on or where things are happening in their life, or how they can be able to create a change and get what they want. Now, this is the worst type of prison you can ever be, which is a prison of your own making, a prison in your mind. Because it happens on default mode until you decide to change the programming to a new one, just as you've created the previous one that is no longer favoring you. So these are paradigms. These are paradigms are created. They create from those information, as I said, those labels we started labeling ourselves to. For example, when you are a kid, you get to label yourself as a kid. When you're going through nursery school, you're going to be in the nursery. When you're in secondary school, for those in this part of the world, or you're in high school, when you're college, you're going to get another label. The more we grow, the more information we get, the more labels we create and associate ourselves into. And those labels becomes the paradigms and the conceptions and our views of the world and what's possible for us to be able to achieve, if that makes sense. And the funny thing about it is that it happens on autopilot, so you don't have to constantly keep building and building those beliefs. And the crazy thing is that this actually takes place from the age of 0 to 7. At this age of our life, we're very subjective to influencing to words and to being influenced by other people because we know nothing, and everything we get to see is what we start accepting into our reality as a conscious self. Now, from the age of 7 to like 18, we start solidifying these beliefs. We start seeing the world in that view because this is all we have known, and these are the basic foundation and the groundwork in which we've been able to get to create our subconscious mind and set those set of instructions in which our conscious mind is not working in our physical reality, which might actually be beneficial or it might be negative depending on your environment or where you're coming from, if that makes sense. Now, paradigms and conceptions is what leads to the creation of limiting belief as you start to adapt yourself and limit yourself to a type of life you don't want but can't seem to be able to do anything about. Because once you accept it, once you believe it, you said, this is my reality, this is how I've grown up to be. We do not get this type of money in our family. We do not buy nice things or good things doesn't happen to us, or we're fat and obese, or this is how we see the world. We are religious, we are Christian. Once you label and keep yourself into those labels, everything in your physical reality, everything you get to see starts revolving around this label and the idea you have of yourself, of others, and the world in general. And this is what leads to either success or failure in any area of your life. This doesn't just involve business and being an entrepreneur. This can also be in a relationship. This can be in your marriage. This can be as a father. This can be in as a worker. Work at you, because this conception, this belief, starts programming and directing us on the actions we take and the things we do every single day of our life, if that makes sense. And it's kind of scary, but the good thing is that we as humans, we can change this. This is a great thing. Animals, on the other hand, they cannot be able to change that. They are living constantly by the influence of their external environment. They do not have a conscious mind to think for themselves. And this is what differentiates humans from animals and every other creature on planet Earth. And this is where anyone can be able to change their stories from where they do not want it, from the situation they do not want, to the place and desired outcome they actually want of their life. Because we can be able to think for ourselves, we can be able to shape our mind, and we can be able to reprogram ourselves. Animals, on the other hand, does not have that privilege, but we do, and this is one of the most exciting things being a human. Because once you decide to make that change and flip that switch, you start to see things differently. When you start to see things differently, you start to react to things differently. And when you react to things differently, you get a different encounter and a different reality altogether, if that makes sense. Now, seeing the world positively or negatively has to do with your paradigms and conceptions of you, others, and the world. When you change your paradigms, you change your belief system, and finally change your reality in that way around. You cannot be able to change your reality from external factors, but you can change it from deep within you by, first of all, removing those limiting beliefs and becoming the person worthy of the desired outcome you want in your reality. So in a bit, we're going to talk about the reprogramming part. This is an intro to how it all works and what is the cause of the problem, so we can get clarity of how it started, so we can finally stop it and create a new reality for ourselves, if that makes sense. This is where they say success comes from the inside out, and this is where we help you create success with the magnetic income acceleration program and coaching to help you increase your chance of success. Now, unlike most programs that just focus on the strategies, because strategies is important, but if you have all the strategies in the world, but you're not taking action on it, you're going to be the same place where you currently are. And um, action doesn't come from having a big why or big motivation. It comes from being in alignment with the things you actually want and seeing the possibility of you being able to have those stuff you want. Because the reason a lot of people are reluctant to take action is because deep within their subconscious programming, they do not believe that what they want is possible. So when you can reprogram yourself from within and get to see that this is the way I've been seeing the world and this is not favoring me, I need to change the way I see the world and these programs within me so it can be in alignment with this stuff I want. The more easy to take action becomes because it becomes a new normal thing you do, and the more easy the result that follows from taking action becomes. So first of all, work with the mindset so you can get to eliminate those limiting beliefs and those paradigms and those conceptions that are working against your success and their outcome, so they can now be in alignment by installing a new one. So when we start teaching you the strategies and the systems, it becomes a lot easier for you to take action. And when you start taking action from this place of clarity and this place of understanding that whatever you're doing is in alignment of who you feel you are, and you know that what you want actually wants you back, the easier it becomes for you to get the result you want. And you start seeing possibility everywhere, opportunities, and before you know it, you start creating that desired outcome you actually want into your physical reality, because everything is energy, as I said. All right. How do you change your old paradigms and belief in order for you to change your reality and achieve your goals? Because so far, I've got to understand that these paradigms, these beliefs, these conceptions are what compose our idea of reality. And this is why reality is different for everyone. Person A might be struggling with finance, person B might be struggling with relationship, person C might be struggling with health. Each of those people are creating and manifesting their various reality based on their various paradigms and conception of themselves, the world, and everything and others in general, if that makes sense. So to be able to change so you can be as the person who is successful, you have to change those paradigms and those beliefs deep within you to match with that of the person that is successful, so you can act, you can react, and you can then create the reality you want, just like the person you are admiring and want to be like, if that makes sense. So before you can change something, you have to know exactly what you want to change. Now, let's go into the next heading of the training: identifying old paradigms, conceptions you have of yourself, the world, and your business. Before getting to that, if you have any questions, be sure to drop into the comment below. Identifying old paradigms, conceptions you have of yourself, the world, and the business. Now, the first thing to reprogramming your mind for success is by first identifying the old paradigms and conceptions that are no longer serving you. Now, when I mean paradigms and conceptions, these are like blueprints, templates, systems, roadmap that you'll be using to operate on a subconscious level that's be controlling how you react with the world, your environment, and in achieving and taking action to get the desired outcome that you actually want in your business. So the first step is going to be to reprogram that is to first of all change these old programmings that are no longer helping you. And here's a quick exercise that can actually help you do this. So I'm not going to explain how it is. I'm going to give you action-based exercise that you're going to take right now so you can start identifying those old beliefs, because it's different for everybody. I cannot be able to guess yours. Mine is different from yours. The next person is different from the other person. And this creates our own limitations in our own physical reality. My limitation might be different from yours. Your limitation might be different from mine. And this is what creates different limitations in different areas of our life. So you want to focus this on the exact area you want to change and you feel you're not growing or being where you want to be in your life or in your business, if that makes sense. So the very first step in this exercise is identify the areas of your life where you feel stuck and believe your old program is no longer serving you. This might be in your business, this might be in your relationship, this might be in your family, wherever that is, might be in your religion, wherever that might be, you can be able to apply these principles. Now, this doesn't just apply to business, but because this is a business channel and the business profile, we can be able to direct it to the business aspect of things. So the second thing you want to do is identify the belief you have come to accept to be true about this area. Because what makes it become a program is because you've consistently feed your mind of that information, and two, you've accepted that information to be true. So to be able to change it, you first of all have to get to see where is the flaw in that information. Why is this not true, or why is it not working? So you want to first figure out what exactly it is and what have you come to accept it to be in that particular area. For example, in business, you might have gotten to believe that selling is evil, maybe because when you were growing up, You get to see so many telemarketers that was pestering your phones and calling your parents' line, and your people, your family, or your father, your dad, your mom is going to like say, "Oh, these people are disturbing again. I hate these telemarketers just looking to get people off their money and just scam people and selling crappy products." You seeing that situation is going to start accepting that concept to be true, that, whoa, I hate telemarketers. Now, a lot of people have been in that case. Man, people are asking, why do you hate telemarketers? I tell you, I do not know. I just hate them naturally. And this is because they have accepted someone else's paradigms to become theirs and actually started working from that place from that information and from that conception of that other person and adopting it as theirs. So this might also be, I hate selling. Now, this might also be from seeing people knocking from door to door, pestering people to get their business, and you have the idea that I just hate these people pestering everybody around. Why can't they just do something else? Why can't they just give people their peace and rest of man? And this can also affect your own selling when it comes to business, because now you're going to feel like if you should go and send someone a code DM, you're going to be pestering someone. And with the conception and the paradigm that I hate selling, you're going to stop on your track and going to do something else that's going to avoid that activity or avoid you from doing that. And even get to the point that when people are selling and marketing on their Facebook profile, they're still going to tell you that you're not going to sell, you're not going to have to think about selling anything to anybody. But there's no business where you're not actually selling. And this has to do with those paradigms and those conceptions they have with the word of selling. And this is why when I was talking about the paradigm conception, I mentioned three important areas, which is the conception of you, the conception of the word, and the conception of others. Now, the conception of the word might be the conception you have of the business. If you're in the sales business and you have a negative influence and a negative idea, a negative view, and negative conception of selling, you might not be successful. The chances of you being successful is slim and even zero to none until you actually go in within yourself and start with changing those conceptions and those views to be in alignment of someone that is a successful and professional salesman. So this is something also going to talk about, which is a saying a lot of people have actually changed in the industry, which is wrong, but it's also right in a way. And in a sec, I'm going to show you how that is. Now, another example might be salespeople are corny bastards. This might not be your own word. You might have heard this from someone that was pissed or going through a bad day and was approached by a salesman and he says those things. But because you're around those things and you do not have the full clarity of the information of what was going on, you accepted that paradigm to be true and you start seeing the world as such. You start seeing salespeople as scamming. You start seeing everybody as spamming because you've also adopted the belief and the conception of others. And this is why I said earlier, the only thing nobody can be able to control or take advantage of is your mind. This is everything that has to do with 100% your control. Wherever you choose to let in is going to stick, is going to influence you, and it's going to change your view of the world. This is where you have to be conscious of the information you feed your brain and the things you let people tell you or the things you accept to be true. Because if you can guard your mind diligently, you can be able to control your life more effortlessly, because the only thing you have control over is your mind, the actions, your choices you decide to make. And this is what changes the reality of each and every one individually, if that makes sense. Now, for example, you might say in your family, nobody was successful, and you grew up feeling that success is for a specific set of people, and you're not among this type of people. Now, if you should get started to online business, this belief, this thought process, these patterns are going to show up again, showing you when you're about to take action that, are you taking action? Do you really, really believe that you can be successful? Have anybody really been successful in your family? Why are you giving this a try? Why not just quit and do something else? This becomes those programming trying to hold you back to those blueprints and the reality you currently have, because you want to change to something else they do not understand, but what they'll be running on is what they already understand. So they're going to try to get you back into that point so you can be in alignment with the old programming and the things you've already come to accept as normal for you. So this is where changing it can be very hard, but it's not impossible. And in a sec, I'm going to walk you through up to 4 and even 5 strategies on how you can effortlessly reprogram those and believe those conceptions and change it to be in alignment with that of the reality and the person you actually want in your physical life, if that makes sense. Now, if you have another example might be money doesn't buy happiness. Maybe you've heard your uncle, your dad, or your parents say this, that money doesn't buy happiness, money doesn't grow on tree, rich people are evil, I can't afford this, making money is hard, I don't believe I can do this, the market is saturated. All of this stuff, once you start accepting this, is going to shame you to the limitation of your belief. And this is why I said earlier that robots have no limitation. They understand that if you do A and B, it's going to give you C. So this is where strategies isn't just going to strategies work because it's obviously work, but because humans are the one running the show, humans have emotion, humans create limitation for themselves, humans most times do not reach their full potential because of this programming and this limitation we've created for ourselves. So to be able to change that, you have to reprogram yourself and change those concepts of you and concept of the world from what you used to be to become a new one that is going to be in alignment with what you are. So going back to the exercise, the first thing is going to be identify the area of your life which you feel you're stuck in and you want to change your programming because it's no longer favoring you. Then the second step is you want to identify the belief you've come to accept to be true about this area. As I said, for example, in business, selling is evil. I hate selling. Since people are corny bastard, I'm not worthy of success. Nobody in my family has achieved this level of success. Money doesn't buy happiness. Money isn't everything. Like all of this belief, all of this stuff you've heard from other people, then you've come to accept and agree to become true. That might be self-sabotaging you and stopping you from getting to the full potential of what you want. Because you can't just come and try to change the 90% with the 10%. The 90% is going to override your programming and bring you back to that level where you don't want to be and put you back in that situation you're trying to avoid because it's all it's known. It's what you'll be programmed to do. You cannot be using an iPhone and expecting to show you Samsung logo. It's been programmed to show you an iPhone logo until you decide to reprogram it into a Samsung phone, if that makes sense. So this is how it actually works, if that actually makes sense. So the third step is going to be go through the list of your current belief and paradigms and ask yourself, how true is this exactly? Like, for example, I hate selling. Ask yourself, how true is this? Do I really hate selling? Or is this something I hate for someone and I accepted to become my own belief? The second might be, since people are corny bastard, then ask yourself, how true is this? Are salespeople really corny bastard? What have I achieved from actually getting someone to sell me stuff? The phone I'm using, the house I'm currently in, the food I'm eating is all as a result of someone else's rendering me the selling of selling that thing for me, which means selling isn't bad, Abby. So this is how you can start actually identifying those beliefs and get to see, oh, is this true? For example, if you are from a family where everybody's obese and you feel like you cannot be able to lose weight, you can ask yourself, actually is this? Has there been someone that came from an obese family that was able to look fit and look sexy and be in a mood and all of that? Then look for those persons, then get to see that that is not so true. And the minute you start taking awareness of this old belief and this old conception that are no longer favoring you, you are already on the path to changing it and creating a new one for yourself. So this is why this is the very first part, which is identifying the old one. Because if there is no problem, you cannot create a solution when there's no problem. First have to figure out the problem, then from there find the solutions to solve those problems. That's how it works. So the third step is to go through the list, ask yourself, is this true? If it's not, put it on another list and know that, whoa, I might have been doing myself a strong thing by believing this, and it's actually not true. And the funny thing is that you saying it's not true is not going to automatically just change it to become not true, because most of your subconscious programming happen on autopilot. You have no control of it, but you can change it, and it's a process. But that doesn't mean you cannot go back to that same paradigm, that same conception by just being aware of it. You have to be cautiously aware of it and cautiously try to change it. And these are some steps and strategy we're going to be talking about as this training proceeds on. So the fourth thing is going to be, ask yourself, if it's not true, where did this belief come from? And answer very honestly. So, because if it's not true, where does it come from? I mean, there was something you heard, there was a movie you watched, or there was an experience you saw that actually got you to believe that was true. Because if you saw it from someone else, that might be the person's experience, that might be the person's paradigm on his own physical reality, but it doesn't equally mean that that is also yours. We are all different, we're unique, and we have our own self-imposed limitation. And most times we get to adopt other people's limitation and accept it as ours because we do not have any other thing else to support or decline that motion, if that makes sense. So now, after identifying the old paradigms and the conception you do not want that is stopping you, we want to identify the new one you want to replace that for. Because to reprogram means you're deleting the old and you're bringing and creating a new. So you have to have clarity of the new you'd like to create. If not, you won't be able to create it. And this is why the next step is very important. So in identifying the new belief, Here's also a quick exercise that can actually help you do that. So the first exercise is you want to make a list of the new belief paradigm systems you want to adopt. If you want to be a successful salesman, you want to think about how does a successful salesman think? How does he see selling? How does he see interacting with his customer? How does he see relationship? How does a six-figure super affiliate think? How does a six-figure marketer think? Because this is going to be the new belief system you want to actually have and register into your subconscious so that you can work from a programming that is in alignment with the outcome and desire you actually want in your physical reality so that you can easily and effortlessly create it, if that makes sense. So here's a simple exercise you want to make sure to go through after doing the first exercise. So let me recap. The first is you want to identify the old paradigms and conceptions you have that is no longer favoring you. And these are the 4 exercises you want to go through to be able to do that. So if you want access to this document, be sure to let me know in the comments by dropping hashtag doc. I'm going to send it to you so you can get an in-depth view of this concept I've been explaining, and you can actually implement, go through the exercise, and actually start changing things for better for yourself. So the second is the second thing we're going to be talking about is identifying the new belief system you want to adopt. So here's an exercise you can do to do that. So the first thing is you want to make a list of the new belief systems and paradigm you want to adopt. So if you want to be a successful affiliate marketer, what are the things a successful affiliate marketer does? How does a successful affiliate marketer sees business? What is the mindset of a successful affiliate marketer? What are the paradigms and what is the conception of a successful affiliate marketer? Then you want to start making a list of those belief systems and paradigms you would like to adopt. Maybe you want to show up more, you want to be more enthusiastic, you want to be more confident, you want to have more information about the desired topic you want to talk about. You want to build an audience, you want to be whatever that might be. So to do that, you want to think about the new belief system you believe is going to be in alignment. For example, I love selling. Selling is cool. Selling is me being of service to others and helping them solve their problem. It's a pretty cool profession to be a salesman, and these are like new belief system you can start installing to be able to get rid of the old one. So second thing you want to do is you want to look for 3 people who are already successful in the area you want to change, e.g., your business coach, your mentor, or other successful colleagues, marketer, and affiliates. So this is where they say you want to model success, because the easiest way to be able to overcome and get rid of your old limiting belief is to adopt and borrow from someone else who already have the right beliefs and system you do not have. It makes it a lot easier. Just like the way when you were growing up, you started adopting beliefs and ideas from your parents, from your family members, from those around you, the community, your religion, which actually creates the person you currently are right now. The same thing you can also do to start shifting that from where it was to where you want it to be by associating with those people who already have the belief systems and the mindset and the result you actually want in your physical reality. So the second exercise is look for 3 of these people who are already successful. The third step is study them closely and try to understand their belief system and paradigm of themselves, others, and the world. This is also has to do with like reading books, reading people autobiography, again to see how they come to start, what are their belief system, what are their experiences, and get to think of those that you feel is going to also be beneficial to your own journey, to your own life, so you can start adopting them for your own self, so you can also create similar reality just like the way they were able to do for themselves, if that makes sense. The first step is make a list of the new belief system and paradigms you need to program your subconscious for success. So make a list of the new ones you've been able to figure out from having those successful mentors or colleagues, from reading those autobiography of successful people in your space, or even having the life that you do like to also achieve for yourself. Then you want to make this list of new belief for your own self so you can now see consciously, because as I said, you cannot change 90% with the 10%. You cannot change the 90% without first of all consciously working with the 10%, because 10% has to do with the choices you make, the action you decide to take, and the things you choose to listen and let into your mind. So if you have control of these 3 things, which is the 10% of your conscious self, you can be able to control subconscious self. It's only going to take some time, but with repetition, you can then reprogram yourself from those old beliefs to the new one you want to adopt. But you first of all have to know what exactly that is so you can start doing the work of inserting it to replace the old one, if that makes sense. So the 5th step in this exercise is you want to make the list of the new belief visible to you at all times. For example, having a postcard, having a note with you, or looking at a vision board where you can get to see this belief, like what do I want to be? What is the person that actually have this desired outcome? How does the person see the world? What is the person's belief system is like? This actually start helping you to become that person day in and day out, if that makes sense. So that being said, you've got to understand what exactly is mindset, how it works, the subconscious mind. You've got to understand how you can, what are paradigms and conceptions, how you can identify the old believing, limiting belief and paradigms that are no longer feasible in you, how you can be able to create a new one. Now, let's talk about how you can overcome your limiting belief, imposter syndrome, and self-sabotage, if that makes sense. All right. So limiting belief, imposter syndrome, and self-sabotage are all stuff that come as a result of trying to go against your main subconscious programming. So this is why taking massive action sometimes doesn't fix your problem, because you're taking the action with your conscious mind that's responsible for just 10% of the creation of your physical reality. So let's go to the iceberg image again. This is your physical and conscious mind, 10%. And this is your subconscious mind with 90% running the show. You do not know how you breathe. It's responsible for your thinking. It's responsible for the healing, for digestion. It's responsible for breathing. It's responsible for clothing, blood. Like so many activities is going on that makes you to be able to function. Even talking, this all has to do from the deep subconscious programming that is within you running there. So to change this, you have to be cautious with this, because this is the gateway to this. This is the program that runs this, but this is the gateway that leads to the creation of this program. And we can easily be able to change this with this. And this is why we have to be cautious of the 10% of our conscious mind. And there are three things to be cautious about, which is the action and the choices we decide to make, the things we decide to listen to and accept to be true, and how we choose to react to the world. Because these three things change our belief and create our conceptions of things, while these 90% of these things control the way we react to our environment consistently. So if we can control this, we can create more of this. And if we create more of this that align with what we want, we can make more of this become what we actually want, if that makes sense. So that's just a summary of everything we'll be going through, if that makes sense. So taking massive action isn't going to automatically change your reality, because you're going to be taking the action from this 10%. And because the program within here doesn't fit right with those actions, it's going to bounce back. And when it bounces back, this is when we start having those self-limiting belief, those thoughts like you're not good enough, you do not feel like this is something you can do, and you start avoiding the activities and tasks you should be doing, and you know you should be doing to get the results you want, because the activity and the task and the outcome you want is not in alignment with the 90% of the programming deep within here. But if we were to go all the way around and make here to be compatible with the outcome and reality we want, the action we take on this 10% is going to be in alignment with the programming within here, and creating our physical reality and our desired outcome is going to be very, very easy to achieve. And you can then get the goal of being financially free, having a successful online business, being in shape, having a decent relationship, and work at you. Because this is how we operate as human. This is the two piece of the pod, if that makes sense. So that being said, whenever you feel you're not good enough, which is the limiting belief, or something is impossible for you, which is like self-sabotaging yourself and saying you can't do it, or feel like a scam or not worthy of success, which is the imposter syndrome, what you have to note is that this has to do with your internal programming and your old belief trying to override your system to the default setting according to your old and original belief system. Because now you're trying to change things around. This is not how it's run. Now, there's a perfect movie that can actually explain this a lot much easier. If you've seen the movie Inside Out, which is actually an animation that has to do with a teenage girl, I think a little girl, her emotions and the voice within, which were all talking, and they have their own animation. If you haven't seen that animation, you want to check it out, Inside Out, you get to understand more about these systems, this structure, this predefined rules and roadmap we all have that is running the show deep within us. So if you want to check that out, you can check it on Netflix, Inside Out. It's a 1 or 2 parts movie. It's very interesting, and it gets to show you an idea of this belief, how they are being formed and created, and how they run the show in our physical reality, if that makes sense. And also, at the end of this training, I'm also going to leave out more resources to help you out with more content and more books Two, you can be able to learn more about this stuff and actively work on changing and reprogramming yourself for the life you actually want. So to get rid of the limiting belief, the imposter syndrome, I put together 5 separate techniques that can actually help you to effortlessly reprogram yourself for success and be in alignment with the things you actually want in your physical reality. Being it business success, being it relationship, being it family, whatever got you, you can be able to use these timeless principles in them. So the first is starting from the end in mind. So this is one of the first steps you can use to reprogram yourself for success, because whatever we focus on expand, and most of the time we are mostly focusing on the problems and the things we do not want in our physical reality. Now we might say we are being realistic, but in terms we're focusing on those things we do not want. And as I said earlier, energy cannot be destroyed or created, cannot be transferred from one form to the other. And whatever we focus on consistently expand. So if you consistently focus on your problem, guess what's going to happen? You're going to attract more problems, so you can keep on focusing more of that problem, and you can keep on complaining about those things you do not want and being in that same solution we should try to avoid. So to do this, you want to first of all know what exactly is the new thing you actually want. What exactly is the desired outcome you want in your physical life? If you want to build a successful online business, if you want to make consistent 6-figure every year, you want to be in a healthy relationship, this is the end goal you want. So you want to put it in your mind. This is the outcome you want. This is the desire you want. This is what you actually want. So instead of focusing your energy, because energy cannot be destroyed, it cannot be created, it can only be transformed from one form to another. So instead of focusing that energy into the things you don't want, you can focus that energy into the things you do want. Now, the thing you want to notice is that your thoughts and emotion create your physical reality. And those thoughts and feelings are inspired from your conceptions and paradigms, which you got from absorbing information and the belief of your parents, the environment, the school, your friends, your religion, and everything around you. So, two things: your thoughts and emotion create your reality. What this means is that if you are focusing on negative thoughts, you feel negative emotion, you create more negative experience in your physical reality. And as I said earlier, there's nothing like good or bad in the energy field. Everything is the same. We as humans are the ones that interpret things to be good or negative or bad, but in a concept, everything is the same. So two things: your thoughts, your emotions, they create a physical reality. Whatever you focus on expands and it gives life into it, which all happens on autopilot without your concept. And this is even the funniest part of it. You're not in concept with this thing, but it's just happening. If you should have the right to change it, you might be able to do that, but you do not, and you just have to stick with the program. But to change this program, you need to reprogram your subconscious mind for success. You need to, for you to change and reprogram your subconscious mind for success, you need to first gain clarity on what you want to achieve and the new paradigms you want to install into your subconscious mind. Now, what this does is so you can be able to focus your thoughts on creating new emotions that are in alignment with the new reality you want to create for yourself. As I said, thoughts and emotions create reality. Everything we get to see in our physical reality, in our life, your smartphone, the device I'm currently on, my mic, the camera, was the thought, and the person felt how it's going to be if he could be able to eventually create it into his physical reality. Emotion, and the person getting to taking action to work on that things, which was in the 10%, and from working and trying and working and trying, it becomes into the physical reality. So to do this, you want to follow this 6-step process. So the first step is have a clear picture of your desired outcome and goals. If you want to build a successful online business, you want to make 6-figure every year, how does it feel? Live from the end in mind. Think about how it's going to feel when you eventually have that successful online business. And there's a feeling you're going to get. It's not just the thing. Like if you have an alert, you get new money and stuff. There's a way you actually feel. And the funny thing is that you can actually feel that way right now without the thing coming. And because, as I said earlier, the mind and subconscious mind is not biased. It doesn't know the difference between the present, the past, and the future. And this is where we can be able to create more negative situation into our reality by focusing on the past negative situation. Because once we start focusing on the past negative situation that have happened, we create that thought pattern and that thought process within our head, because that's what we're focusing on. Then we will feed those emotions we felt from the past event, and then we create more of the situation into our physical reality, if that makes sense. Now, we can also use the same template to create the things we actually want in our life. As I said earlier, this is not biased. It's not negative. It's not positive, depending on how you decide to use it. So to also do this, we want to feed our mind on the outcome we actually want. If it's having a successful online business, what does that feel like? What does a successful online marketer does? How do they feel? How will they feel getting commission while you are asleep? And feel it and have a clear picture of that in your mind, because thoughts and emotion create reality, if that makes sense. Now, another thing you want to do is you want to see yourself in your mind's eye already having it, because that is an external possession, and everything that we get to have, everything that is and everything that will be, first was a thought in someone's mind and then became into a physical reality. So you want to first of all see yourself having it already, because as I said, the mind is a straight line. It doesn't know the difference between present, past, or current event. All it knows is that this is what you're focusing on, and whatever you focus on, expand. So see yourself in that. The third step is feel the emotion of already having your desired outcome in your reality. How would you feel? Which is the feeling the cases when imagine having a business that pays you 100K every year, 100,000 years every year. You're gonna feel grateful. You're gonna feel in abundance. You're gonna feel of service to others because your business is thriving and people are buying your stuff because it's helping them solve their problem. You're going to feel inspired, and you're going to feel like you're actually serving people and helping them. These are the feelings that comes from having that. So right now, you don't need to have that thing to feel that way, because when you're waiting for those things to happen before you feel that way, you're creating a distance between what you have and where you are, and you're telling yourself that there is a gap. I cannot be able to achieve this because you're not in alignment with that thing. And this is why I said thoughts and emotions create our physical reality. When you are waiting to get those things before you can be feel the way you want to feel, you're feeling the way you don't want to feel currently. And that is going to keep you in the aspect and in the place you do not want to be, because that's what you're focusing on and not the thing you actually want. If that makes sense. I know it sounds woogy, but that's how it actually works. So the third step is feel the emotion of already having that, which is feeling inspired, feeling grateful, feeling happy, feeling of service. Because once you feel this stuff, you're going to take action that also align with that stuff. Being of service is serving people. Like I'm creating content right now. I'm trying to help people, to educate them, to inspire more people, and get them to understand how it actually is. This is taking action. And that action comes from a place of I want to be of service to others, which comes from I want to have a successful online business. So you can get how that is. A lot of people are not going to take action until they see the physical result in their reality, and they will never get the physical result without taking action. And you can see how this works. It creates that roller coaster of keep going and not being where you want and being in that state of constant struggle. So after that, you want to live every day from the feeling of already achieving your desired outcome, because as I said, reality is first formed from the mind. Wherever you picture in your mind, you can be able to create. If you cannot see it in your mind, you cannot be able to create it. So the first step, have a clear picture of your desired outcome and goals. The second step, see yourself in your mind's eye already having it. The third step, feel the emotion of already having your desired outcome in your reality. The fourth step, and live every day from that feeling of already achieving your desired outcome. The fifth step is be conscious and be on alert for the thoughts that comes into your mind. The way you feel and choose to react to different situations is what creates your physical reality. So think about how the person with that desired outcome will choose to react to things. So when you get criticized on your DM or on your content, think about someone having a six-figure online business. How is he going to react to that situation? Is he going to lash back at that person and start exchanging word, or is he going to ignore that person and move on to more important things and people that actually want him? What would a person that have a six-figure online business feel like if he was rejected in a sales call? Is it going to be like, oh no, you must buy my stuff? Or is it going to be like, there are more people who want this stuff and I believe this product can be able to change my life. I can be able to interact with them and show them this. So when you start thinking in this way, you start featuring your thoughts to the things you actually want. and not just leaving it to run wild on its own and letting everything to influence you on your own. And this also has to do with the content and the things you choose to spend your time on. What do you watch? What advice do you take from other people? And who do you listen to? Because all of these start creating a new paradigm and conception of you, in which you create a new lens in which you see the world, which can either create a positive or negative outcome in your physical reality. Now, the sixth step is become the person worthy of your desired outcome. As I said, once you start feeling the way the person used to feel, react the way the person used to react, guess what? You literally become that person. And the benefits the person gets from being that person, which is the side effect, the wealth, the money, the success, and all of that, will start becoming a normal thing for you because you align yourself in that same energy feed as those things. So it appears very, very easy in your own reality because you're only doing those things that is in alignment with it, if that makes sense. So this is what a lot of gurus turn into the fake it till you make it model. So you might have seen this concept that you have to fake it till you make it. You have to show people that you're a successful online business and lie your ass out and hope that someday you're going to start getting people to believe that lie. And the funny thing is that a lot of people are seeing through those lies and people do no longer believe that. So you have to feel it till you become it. So this is the right model. The actual idea is to feel it till you become it. And this is because thoughts and emotion equals to creation and manifesting your goals into your physical reality. So feel the way that person would feel. Be happy, be excited, be of service like the other person would be, and eventually you're going to get what those person actually have in their own physical reality, if that makes sense. So it's not fake it till you make it, it's feel it till you become it, if that makes sense. If you make sense, be sure to drop a feel it till you become it below in the comments. I'm super excited to see that. Anyway, so the reason you're where you are, the reason you're where you're not, the reason you're where you are is not as a result of your thoughts and emotions. Okay, so the reason you are where you are is as a result of your thoughts and emotion. So really think about it. Once you keep on going back to those old circumstances, those old events that actually caused the pain in your life, you keep on reminiscing on those experiences, you relive it, and you create more of those things. Once you focus on the future, on the ideal goal you want, the belief you feel those way the person is going to feel, you start becoming that person and you attract these things that comes from being that person. So the success you want, the online business, the relationship you want is as a side effect of becoming the person that is in alignment with those things already, if that makes sense. So another skill and technique to be able to program your mind is by disrupting self-negative talk, stories, and thought patterns you currently have. So after starting from the end in mind, the second thing you need to do is to diligently guard your mind and guard the things that comes into your thought, because this is what actually controls and creates 90% of your subconscious self, that creates the conceptions and paradigms and the lens in which you view the world. So if you allow anything in, anything is going to get influence of you and it's going to control you to the reality you do not want. So you want to guard it. You want to be a guide man to your thoughts and to your brain, because this is the only thing you have. Just like in a boat, a ship does not sink because of the water outside of it. A ship sinks because of the water that gets into it. The same thing is your mindset. You cannot be influenced by stuff you do not know or you do not think or you do not even see. You can only be influenced by stuff you accept and you allow into you. So the same thing is your mind, and this is why you want to guard your mind from every self-negative thought, from those stories and those thought patterns. Now, speaking of thought and emotion, whatever negative, whatever negative, okay, speaking of thoughts and emotion, whatever negative talk, stories, and thoughts that goes into your mind create negative feelings that lead to the creation of more negative outcome that you do not want. And why you need to guard and protect your mind from the content you consume that might influence your thought and emotion, because it could be disruptive if not properly checked. So this is the thought, because there was a post I created on Facebook that the stories you consistently tell yourself create more of the situation you do not want in your life. So this is where we have to learn to tell ourselves new stories. We have to learn to see ourselves in the desired outcome and being the person worthy of those things we want, because everything you want is as a side effect of being the person that is actually able to get those things, if that makes sense. Now, the third strategy and system you can use is through affirmation and visualization exercise to shift your consciousness to a new one. Now, as I said earlier, the 10% of your subconscious mind controls the 90% of your subconscious mind, in the sense that you can program your subconscious mind by actively and diligently choosing what you decide to interact with to be able to build the new belief and a new conception of this self-image and your subconscious mind and your subconscious self, if that makes sense. Which means with this 10%, which have to do with action, the thoughts we decide to spend our time on, and the way we choose to react to external environment, create and develop the self-image and conception of which we have of ourselves, which therefore attract more of the situations and things into our physical reality. So to do this, the first thing you want to do, affirmation, is you now diligently and purposely reprogramming yourself to those new beliefs and those new conceptions that is in alignment with what you want. Now, another powerful tool for programming your mind for success is the power of positive affirmation and visualization technique to create new suggestions to reprogram your mind and change your old paradigms and with new belief systems and conception. Now, when saying your affirmations, make sure to feel it emotionally, like it's already happening, because thought plus emotions creates reality. Even creating a new life into the world has to do with your thoughts, like giving birth to a baby, because you first of all have the thought of your partner, and then you have the emotion and you feel aroused, and then which leads to sexual intercourse, and then you guys give birth to a baby. So you can get to see how the idea in your head leads to emotion, and it leads to you taking that action, which leads to the creation of a new life. Now, even the creation of a new life has to deal with the thought patterns and our emotions and how we choose to react with those things. Also, when you want to create a new thing into your reality, a new goal, or a new aspect into your physical reality, the same true process also is involved with that, if that makes sense. Now, depending on the parts of your life that you want to change, it's going to depend on the type of affirmation you're going to have to say. Now, because this is a general training, I cannot be able to go into like, this is the best affirmation for this, best affirmation for this. But if you do want me to personally walk you through some of the proven affirmation, how you can selectively guide and create like 4 to 7 affirmations that's going to be in alignment with the goal you want, and how you can use visualization techniques to be able to attach and create those thoughts and emotions that's going to lead to you creating those physical reality, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'm going to be opening 3 slots for a one-on-one free coaching, where I'm going to help at least 3 people to work on this part of their self, create specific and unique affirmations for themselves, and then learn how they can be able to implement it to their physical reality to be able to create the business success they actually want. If you want to secure spots on this, be sure to drop an hashtag affirmation. I'm going to reach out to you, and we're going to schedule a call where I can actually help you and also diagnose more of those stuff to understand your personal paradigms and your conception, or the things you want to change and the things you actually want, so you can walk through this exercise to effortlessly take action and actually implement it so it can actually work for you, if that makes sense. So if that's you, be sure to let me know in the comments. I'll be excited to see that. So the third step is meditation exercise. So meditation is another way where you can silence the physical environment, you can silence your body, which is running on autopilot, and then you can focus on yourself from the in-depth, from the subconscious side of things, and then install new belief and new systems of what you want to appear into your physical reality. So as I said earlier, this is the 90% that deals and control your environment and even control the actions you take on your physical environment. So to change this 90%, you have to consciously use this 10% to work on this 90%, which is your subconscious that creates the concept of you, yourself, the world in general, and how you choose to react and take action. So if you want access to the document, be sure to drop an hashtag doc below, and I'm going to send that to you. And there are 2 parts. There are 2 main parts in creating a change in your physical reality, which is the conscious and subconscious part of you, if that makes sense. So one way to run this program is through meditation. So to reprogram yourself for success, you can use meditation to silence your external environment, the things you hear and the things you are accepting into yourself, and then insert into you the main ideas, the new paradigms, the new conception, and the new belief you did want to get into your physical reality. Now, you can either do this through meditation or you can do this through prayers. This is one thing. This is where all religion preach about praying, preach about silencing your outer world, your physical flesh, and actually connecting with your deep soul within you so you can be able to create more of the things you want. Because our external environment, the noises around us are being so loud that it distracts us from actually creating the things we want, and we are easily being influenced by everything around the environment, and we are in constant reaction mode instead of being in a creation mode of things. So to be in creation mode, you have to first of all stop yourself from being in a state of constant reaction mode. And to do that, there are two ways you can do this. You can either do this through meditation or you can do this through prayers and worship. So depending on you. So in this training, we're going to be diving into the step of meditation. And to do this, we're going to use the 6-step process to meditation by Neville Goddard. So this dude is actually awesome. It's one of the people that I got to learn more of this insight from. And his dude is actually late, but his work is still doing magic and changing life even in today's century. So you can check it out. Neville Goddard actually have a 6-step process on how you can use meditation to program yourself for success. So here is actually a platform I use to read audiobooks and get to study this stuff. And here are some books you can actually use to start reprogramming yourself for success and get to understand more of this concept more in depth. So the very first book is Breaking the Habit of Being You by Dr. Joe Dispenza. So this is actually a wonderful book. It's literally going to change the game for you. It's going to get you to understand the concept of your subconscious mind, how 90% does the affect your 10% conscious self, how does create your physical reality, how your thoughts and emotions sync up together to actually create the things you want or do not want your physical reality, and how you can be able to change things for the better. This is actually the book by Dr. Joe Dispenza, which is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Now, the second book is by Neville Goddard, and this has to do with meditation. And give me a sec. Let me search this out so you can get to see how it works. So this is the part that actually explain more about using meditation to be able to reprogram yourself for success and get to explain in depth what meditation is and how you can properly do it. It's not just going silent or saying some magical word. It's actually disconnecting yourself from physical reality so you can be able to create the things you want from deep within you. So from being in constant reaction mode, you can then be in a state of creation mode, and you can then create your physical reality and get the things you actually want, if that makes sense. So we can see this is a book in here, which is Neville Goddard, Master Course to Manifest Your Desired Outcome with the Law of Attraction. So I'm going to leave these two books in the document so you can get access to them. This is actually a platform that I do use to read this book. It's called Evergrant, and you can get access to it for free for 30 days. And after that, you can pay just $10 per month to be able to get access to this platform. I've been able to learn so many things because the journey to getting the success you want, first of all, takes place from being the person that's worthy of the success you want. And to do that, you have to work on personal development and improve yourself from the deep or from the inside out. So books and this self-development books is going to help you a lot in your journey to doing that. So if you want access to this platform, I'm going to leave in the document. So if you get access to the document, you can get access to all of these resources I'm mentioning right now, and you can read it for 30 days for free. Then after that, it's just $10 per month. And I'm actually not an affiliate. I'm just giving you this to help you so you can actually read this book to help yourself and be in a better position to get the desired outcome. So from the summary of the book, I'm just going to throw this in here. If you want to get more content of this exercise and how you can use meditation to be able to be in a state of creation mode and create the things you want, you want to check out the book and get access to this Everett platform where you can read it as an audiobook. So while you're going to work, while you're doing your shows, you can study and you can improve yourself from the inside out, if that makes sense. So according to to Neville Goddard, this is this step to meditation to program yourself for success. The first is breath work. So for at least 8 to 10 minutes, you not that much. From 3 to 5 minutes, you want to focus on your breath to release the tension in your body. So you want to focus on your breath by breathing in and out, holding your breath, inhaling and exhaling so your body can be more free, you can be more subjective, because oxygen has a lot of power within it, so you can let yourself to free yourself from the external tension. Then the second is releasing the tension from your body, and there are different techniques to do this. Even Joe Dispenza in this book explain more of this, releasing the tension from your body by actually focusing on various areas of your body and then being in a state of stillness to release those tension from your body, so you can then separate yourself from the external world, from that constant state of reaction and reacting to everything, to being in a state of creation. So the first thing is breath work to be more relaxed. Then you want to release the tension from your body, and there are different exercises to do this. One of the best one I've seen is actually thinking like you are feeling your body from the up down, from the top to the bottom, from the head. Let's say you're pouring water on yourself, then from your head, focus on your head, to your nose, to your shoulder, to every part of your body, to release the tension away from you and to deactivate you from the present reality. Then the second thing is the quiet and state of stillness. So as I said, everything was once a thought, and the thought mixed with emotion becomes a creation. So the same thing is this is how every human being came to be on earth. Where once a thought in our parents' head, and then they mix it with emotions, and then boom, here we are in the physical reality. So you want to go back to that stillness and be into that stillness to actually deactivate yourself from the external surrounding and take yourself back to the state of beta. As I said earlier, from the age of 0 to 7, we are most receptive to suggestions, to advice, and this is where we create a lot of the conceptions we have of the world and ourselves. From 7 to 18, we reinstate and we strengthen those beliefs, and we create it to become a new norm. So to also reactivate and remove this stuff, we have to let go of them and go back to that state we were in our brain formation state, which is the state of beta, where we accept information with more, we accept information more openly, and then we can then let those information create new conceptions and paradigms for ourselves. So we want to go back to that state of beta, and this book actually explains it more. So you want to get it if you want to get more in-depth version of this. Then after being in that state of stillness, you are more recipient to creating a new reality, or putting your focus into those things you want, where you can mix thoughts and feelings together in that state. Now, after being in the state of stillness, you want to let go of the old beliefs and conceptions and even the people you have an issue with. Because once you separate yourself from this entity, you are as free as a bird. And from that state of freedom, you can be able to create wherever you want. After letting go of your old beliefs, letting go of the conceptions, letting go of the enemies and the people you fear against you, the fifth step is then visualizing the things you actually want, which is living from the end. Now, if you want a successful online business, see how it feels to have a successful online business, and feel how it feels to have a successful online business. What does a person that earns 100 grand every year feels like? How does he react to problem? What is his normal daily routine? What action does it take? How does it help people? What does it do? You want to see it and eventually see exactly what you are in the mind of your mind's eye. So when you visualize and see it, what you're doing at this point, you adding thoughts, because you're constantly focusing on the things you want. And then by feeling it, you're adding emotion. Then emotion feels with thought relates to the creation of things into your physical reality. Then the sixth step is keeping the secrecy of what you desire to yourself. Even the Bible says, if you pray in silence in my name, I, the Lord, will also bless you in public. So this is when you want to keep to yourself the things you want. Do not tell anybody else, because they might discourage you. They might use their own limiting belief and their own paradigms to you by telling you what they believe for themselves and then transferring their beliefs to you. As I said earlier, you want to guide your mind, you want to guide your thoughts and guide the things you choose to believe and accept into your mind, if that makes sense. And the fifth way you can also be able to do this is through self-hypnotic therapy exercise to reprogram yourself for success. So as I said, being in a state of beta makes you become more recipient to informations and new stuff. Now, there are programs out there that was created for wet specifically. So these programs are going to have soundtracks that is going to put you into that state of beta, where you can be in a state of trance, so that in that state of trance, you are more recipient to new suggestion. And now you can then start reprogramming yourself with a new idea of what you want. In this case, this is a program which is for the wet and the financial success side of things. So it's going to be very, very helpful for those in the digital marketing space. So what you can do with this program, it's actually an audio book. You played it and you follow the instruction. So you followed it and you joined the instruction. It's actually closed right now. Okay, so this is actually a program. Reboot to a millionaire mindset, upgrade your brain, and up-level your abundance. So these programs use hypnotherapy exercise to be able to get you to deprogram yourself from the old beliefs and conception you have of yourself, and then open you up to be open to suggestions, which they're going to then use to reprogram you to a new way of thinking and a new way of consciousness that's going to be in alignment to the things you do want. So that is also part of it. I'm going to leave these resources in the document. So in case if you're interested in that, be sure to let me know. So far, these are everything we're talking about for today. It's been a lot showing up. And for those that want to secure the spot for the one-on-one free coaching session, be sure to let me know in the comment below. I'm going to reach out so we can go up on the call and I can help you with this stuff. These are stuff most programs do not teach because it's complex and in-depth. Either it's difficult to teach, and second, it's personal. It's something you have to figure out on your own. And I added this to my program so I can help people really get the mass amount of success so you can work on yourself from the inside out and have nothing stopping you from getting the things you actually want.